I was praying every single day, please don't let this become Fire Festival 2. Little did I know how literally true my worst fears were to become. We'll get there, but first I need to back up to the beginning of the story.
Bello balcony. I'm admire the new building, the new balcony that our city hall has. It's very shabby chic. Welcome to the city hall. It's closed.
Sindaco, c'è chiuso fuori.
Sindaco.
Antonella Movena. Stiamo girando.
Regge.
Sì. Sindaco di tutto quello che sta dicendo. E io quando stavo 5 minuti attaccata alla ringhiera, via ringhiera, pendoloni attaccata alla ringhiera.
This was the first of many meetings that we were to have in the literally collapsing city hall here in Dasa, Calabria. What were we planning? A food festival. To make a very long story short, as some of you guys know, we are all about promoting the amazing food and traditions that you'll find in very rural places in Italy, like here in Calabria. When you go off the beaten track in this country, you'll find things that are amazing and interesting, not to mention delicious, but that aren't really well known about, let alone celebrated. And so one day we had the crazy idea, what if we did celebrate them with a big food festival in a tiny rural Calabrian village? Nothing like this has ever been attempted here. I know that because many people told us, and many people said that it wouldn't work. But by golly, we were gonna try. As you'll soon see, a lot of people became involved with this project, more than I can possibly list. But the core planning team consisted of the following people. There were myself and Eva, of course. Then there was Raffaele, the mayor here in Dasa, professional red tape cutter. Our good friend Giuseppe, who is a web developer. He is the perfect person to have on your team because he just somehow knows everybody in Calabria. It's crazy. Then there was Antonella, who owns the small grocery shop here in Dasa. Very useful person when putting together a food fest. We also had some outside friends on the team, namely Raffaele, a different Raffaele, and Luana, who are the masterminds behind Calabria Food Official. If you are not familiar with them, go look them up on Instagram. They are the absolute best if you want to just daily discover incredible, amazing Calabrian food. So with this ragtag little team of people who are in no way experienced in putting together food festivals or big events like this, we got to work. I would be lying if I said it was all smooth sailing. We started to have bigger meetings, bringing the community in to start planning this event. I know that probably most of you have never had the experience of being in a Calabrian community meeting. They tend to be difficult to keep organized and on track.
It's a big chaos. A huge chaos.
Beyond just the challenges of working out the logistics with everyone, we quickly started to realize how much it costs to put together a food festival. It quickly adds up. We wanted to have no fees for all of the locals who were taking part. We didn't want the pastry shop here in Dasa to have to pay to take part. We didn't want the nonprofit associations here to have to pay a fee in order to get in. So we were gonna have to find the money somewhere. And that means looking for sponsors.
Pronto, buongiorno. Sto chiamando per conto dell'organizzazione del Dasa Food Festival. Dasa. No, Dasa, in provincia di Vibo Valencia. Va bene, grazie. Sì, Dasa, quel piccolo paese. Ah, bene, lo conosce. No, quest'anno è la prima volta che proviamo a fare il food fest. Ah, va bene. Ok. Dasa. Pronto?
I'll just put it this way. Nobody thought that a food festival in a tiny village they'd never heard of was worth their time. We were lucky to get some support in kind from folks. For example, Divella, which I bet a lot of you are familiar with, because not only are their pasta and products available in the US and Australia, over 130 other places around the world. They gave us a huge amount of flour and tomato passata and pasta. Pretty important ingredients when you're putting together a Calabrian food festival. But we were still pretty significantly short on funds. And that's where today's video sponsor comes in. As many of you know, we have worked with UBG for a while now. They are a really cool company who we recommend to everyone who travels. When you travel, getting data on your phone can be a pain. You either have really overpriced options from your existing carrier, or you have to deal with getting a cell phone plan in a foreign country. Well, UBG provides cellular data using eSIMs at competitive rates and in a way where it is beyond easy to recharge, to set it up on your phone. They've been a great supporter of the channel, and so we went to them and said, hey, how would you feel about not sponsoring us, but sponsoring a food festival? And they said yes. All of the money from this sponsorship went toward this festival, which we were now suddenly under a lot more pressure not to turn into a huge disaster. The plan was in place, UBG had come on board, so it was way too late to give up on this thing, which meant that it was time to start setting up with the good old boys. All right, I should explain who the good old boys are. I call them the good old boys. That's just my title for them. They don't actually have a title. But they are a group of men here in town who are all members of the two confraternities here in Dasa. The confraternities are these religious brotherhoods. So there's the confraternity of the Rosary, they're the Reds. And there's the confraternity of the Immaculate Conception, they're the Blues. They're kind of like the Bloods and the Crips, except they cook pasta together instead of kill each other. And they're heavily involved in all of the religious life here, whether it's a procession or some kind of fundraiser where they cook a community dinner for the parish. If you need something moved, lifted, heaved, or dragged here in Dasa, they're the guys to call. But you do need to give them breakfast first. In this case, it was panettone and coffee. Things were moving along. We were getting tents set up, lights strung out, tables and chairs in place. All of this before lunch.
E qua mangiamo. Hai visto? Si mangia bello tranquilli.
We also had some decorating to do. A woman here named Domenica made these incredible strings of flowers, colorful flowers, all made out of recycled bottles. It was just one of the amazing ways that someone from this community contributed to this event. Now, that's what me and the men of the confraternities were doing, but the women of the confraternities were not just sitting around. Well, okay, they were technically sitting, but they were sitting while preparing an absolute buttload of Calabrian peppers and potatoes. Our day of prep was coming to an end. The food festival was coming up the next day. We had made quite a bit of progress, but there were still a lot of concerns. I mean, right up to the very last minute, we were making changes, you know, which stand is gonna go where, the whole layout of the thing. It's one thing to plan this all out on a map, but then when you start actually putting everything into place, you realize like, oh gosh, we can't put the drinks here because then there's a choke point here and the traffic jam of people will build up. This is where I need to introduce a latecomer to the team, but a very important member of the team, Giuseppe. Okay, not that Giuseppe, different Giuseppe. There are a lot of Giuseppes. Giuseppe is a young man, he's from Dasa, but like so many young people here in Calabria, he had to leave to go to school and eventually to find a job. He happened to be home for the summer though, and so he jumped in to help, and I just got this taste of like, wow, if Calabria could just hold on to its young, talented people, so much could be done here. He's super smart, super talented. Thanks a lot to his help, we relieved a lot of the last-minute logistical anxieties, but no amount of planning could put aside the biggest worry we had. Is anyone going to come? Remember, nothing like this had ever been tried here before. It's not like there were some real-world examples we could look back at, like, oh yeah, a few years ago we did something like this and about this many people came. No idea. What if after all this work that we've put in, it's just empty streets? We would be letting down our incredible sponsor who took a chance on us. We would be letting down all of the different people who were going to be cooking food in the food festival, who had prepared food for a lot of people, hoping for the best. But there was nothing to do but wait and see, because the big day had arrived. It is 6 a.m. Already the cooking is underway.
Hai visto come si saltano i pepi? Ho lavorato in cucina io, sai. 8 anni ho lavorato in cucina.
Oh, dove lavorato quando è? Che profumo di pepi.
We were off to a very wonderful smelling start with pipi e patati, my favorite Calabrian dish. That's my tattoo of pipi e patati. The other stands were getting ready too, at first in the area of decoration.
Pregate per storie e dopo gli stavamo donna per sciopero e per cercanza.
Ecco il batterista.
I guess I should tell you a little bit about the stands and the food that they were making. I probably don't have time to list them all, but I will highlight a few. If you watch this channel much before, you might see some familiar faces. Our good friend Giovanni and his wife Roxy, who are local cheesemakers here. We did a video all about them and their incredible cheese. They came down from the mountains to share their delicious products with everyone. Some of the stands were small businesses like Giovanni the cheesemaker, but we also had local nonprofit associations who were taking part, such as the Cultural Association of Dasa.
L'associazione culturale dasaese ha una lunga storia, è nata nel 1983. Si occupa di tante cose, insomma, cioè si tratta di attività creative che comprendono ad esempio il carnevale, il presepe vivente, i giochi popolari, accanto ad attività più culturali, propriamente culturali, come convegni sulla storia pure del nostro paese. Partecipiamo a questo Dasa Food Fest preparando dei cibi tradizionali del nostro paese, cosiddette curiglie. Chiamiamole frittelle, come volete chiamarle. La curiglia la mangia, la mangia pure una volta sia la classe alta del paese, no? Ma anche i contadini cosiddetti quando c'erano, no? Era il cibo pure di tutte le classi, no?
By the way, more on kuriki later in a future video, hopefully coming out soon. It was very important for us that while this was the Dasa Food Fest, that it wasn't just about Dasa. So we were also honored to have some associations and businesses from other towns in the area come to take part.
Buon pomeriggio a tutti, sono Giuseppe Esposito, presidente della Proloco di Acquaro. Acquaro si trova proprio nel paese attaccato a Dasa, è tipo rurale, però è un paese che ha tanto di offrire.
La Proloco d'Acquaro ha portato dei dolci antichi, sono dei dolci che venivano preparati a suo tempo per i matrimoni, dolci semplicissimi, fatti solamente con farina, uova, del succo di limone e zucchero e poi fritti. Sono ottimi, sono buonissimi nella loro naturalezza. Proprio questa naturalezza e la croccantezza li fa gradire a tutti quanti.
Come si chiamano?
Nakatuli.
There was another association here in Dasa called Aquila Rossa. So they came and brought croquette di riso. One of my favorites, fried rice balls, some stuffed. So good. Some of you might remember, we've talked about him before, Salvatore, the incredible pastry chef here in Dasa. He took part bringing the incredible tartufo di gelato, the stuffed gelato ball. We also had a stand for our brand new pizzeria here in Dasa, but they weren't making pizza today.
Siamo dallo staff della pizzeria 5 Stelle, una pizzeria innovativa aperta da poco. Questa sera in questo stand proponiamo pesce spada fresco dello Stretto di Messina con melanzane grigliate, lattuga e questo è il nostro prodotto, eccezionale, venite a gustare.
We had Calabrian craft beer, very delicious. And then, of course, we had the stands of the confraternities, whose cooks were just arriving now. They were making 3 incredible foods for the festival. Number 1, tripe. You have not lived until you've had a tripe sandwich. You already saw the pipi e patati, of course. They were gonna be serving that as well. Plus, the most traditional pasta here, pasta e suriaka, AKA pasta and beans. After a long afternoon with everyone getting all of their food ready for the evening, it was just about time to, well, eat.
Voglio mangiare, capito? Sono io, ragazzi, sono bene.
Benvenuti alla prima edizione di Dasa Food Fest. E vi come ti sciali.
Allora, cosa ne hai chiesto? Codò, tentava da notte. Ma non lo vedi. Io non ti parlo. Ti dà. E come vuoi? Come vuoi? Aspetta, come vuoi che ti costi? Per quanto già? 32. Sì, no, non ti resti. Ah sì, perché? Ah sì, sì. Non spendere questa parte. Non bere si può avere carica. Come ti parlo? Sì.
Now, we were all convinced that even if people did come to the food festival, that for sure they would come later. By my American standards, Italians eat pretty late, 9, 10-ish. So we thought that it would be long after sunset and that would be really slow at the beginning. That's not really what happened. Almost right from the get-go, people started coming.
Macarrone suriaco.
Uno gli ci quantuia, uno gli ci pesanti, qualcuno con l'anduia, subito, qualcuno con la salta pure? No. Come no? Anduia, piccante, ma di piccante, eh? Approfittatene stasera, domani non c'è niente più!
But this was still just the beginning, and it started to become clear that, assuming some disaster didn't happen, we might have a success on our hands. Now, we'll see how things go later, but for now, while it's looking really good, a huge thank you to our sponsor, UBG. UBG is an app that lets you get eSIM data plans in over 200 destinations worldwide. We all need data while traveling, whether it's for keeping up on your emails, using your GPS when you're trying to navigate a foreign city, or sometimes just watching a YouTube video. If you just use your existing cellular carrier, you'll get insane, crazy roaming charges. There's no need for any of that with UBG. You can find a plan that works for you, a plan that's affordable, a plan that gives you the data that you need, a plan that doesn't come with a bunch of strings attached, there's no commitments, and one that you can easily recharge at any time using the app. It's so simple to set up. Most phones these days are eSIM compatible, and so rather than needing to go into a store and get an actual physical SIM card to put into your phone, you have to find a little pin that fits in there. You can just do it all in the app in seconds. UBG has excellent signal coverage. The reason for that is that in most destinations, they actually have multiple carrier partners, so they'll find the best signal for you. We've tested it in crazy places and we always get amazing coverage. Download the app today, click the link down in the description below and use promo code PASTAGRAMMAR. You'll get 10% off your data plan. A big thank you to UBG for sponsoring this food festival.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG. Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG.
Grazie UBG. Grazie UBG.
The sun set, night fell, and that's when things really picked up. In a sense, we were right before, that once it got to be Italian dinner time, that's when we would have the most people. But we didn't expect this many people. There were times when it was difficult to even go up the street to get through the town. And what's crazy is that, this town is so small, you know absolutely everybody. I know every face here. But the amount of people who weren't from there was crazy. All these strangers who had come to this little Calabrian village just for this. The best part for me was just seeing all of these stands. Small, little, very local businesses or nonprofit associations who just had members who cooked good homemade food. Seeing them actually selling their food to people who appreciated it. Not to mention for the businesses to make some extra money, the nonprofit associations to raise some extra money. It was just unlike anything we'd ever seen here. And even though things started off rocky and there was a lot of doubt about whether or not this would work, what I realized looking back was that there wasn't a moment when the people here didn't just give everything to this crazy idea. The amount of time and work and literal sweat that they put into this project. They made something that most people thought was impossible actually happen. This was so unexpected. I mean, nobody thought that this crazy Dasa food fest would work at all. But then the truly unexpected happened. All of a sudden, I started to hear shouts of smoke and then fire, and sure enough, a fire had broken out. Fire is scary everywhere, but it's especially scary in a town like this. The nearest fire department is really far away. Just late last year, tragically, there was a fire. A woman who lived here had a wood stove and a spark got out, and her house was destroyed by the time the fire department arrived. And when it happened, we were in the US, but we thought like, oh, maybe we can do a Kickstarter or something, we can help her out. A few days later, she died. So when I turned around and saw smoke down the street, I was thinking two things. Oh my gosh, this town that I love so much is in serious danger. And two, it's maybe my fault. I mean, we didn't know, was it a cooking fire? Was it an electrical problem or something? But I rushed down there to find, well, something very typical of this town.
Però c'è un talento strano, far soffrire per piacere e non piangere. Non me ne sono mai andato, perché sei stata tu ad avermi abbandonato.
The folks here took it into their hands to fight the fire. They brought in a water tank truck and a hose. It was not the best setup. The hose couldn't even fully reach into the house. They had to break a window to pour water into the house.
Sei cresciuta nel giardino, poi quello dei dannati, dove io ti amavo, ma vuol dire essere spezzati, ma giuro, se potessi tornare al principio, per scegliere ancora te, farei anche un omicidio, sapevi farmi volare, per poi sparire, come un dio che ama, solo per punire.
The flames themselves were quickly put out, which was good, but there can be smoldering ashes and stuff in the wood that can reignite later. So these guys were going in there and they were, checking for hot spots, watering everything down. The very good news was that it was a completely abandoned house. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. We still, even now, don't know exactly what happened. The fire itself, we quickly discovered, broke out in the far rear of the house, so it wasn't close to the food festival or anything. It was an abandoned house. There was no power running through it or anything. We don't really know. Maybe some moron walked by and carelessly flicked a cigarette or something. We don't know. But man, there was just this very scary hour in the middle of this food festival. Thankfully though, it was all dealt with and it was time for the last surprise of the evening, which was the concert.
Questa sera, mentre ci ritroviamo nel nostro villaggio per celebrare il cibo, le tradizioni e lo spirito della Calabria, dobbiamo anche riconoscere che momenti come questo non nascono da soli. Sono frutto del cuore di una comunità, ma diventano possibili grazie alla generosità di amici che credono in noi. Per questo esprimiamo la nostra più profonda gratitudine a EVA'S. Sostenendo questo festival, non solo ci hanno aiutato a condividere la nostra cucina e la nostra cultura, ma hanno anche portato forza a un piccolo paese con grandi sogni. Il contributo di EVA'S dimostra che anche i luoghi più remoti, quelli che molti potrebbero trascurare, meritano di essere celebrati. Grazie al loro aiuto, le nostre tavole sono imbandite, le nostre strade sono vive e le nostre tradizioni brillano davanti al mondo. Siamo orgogliosi e grati di accogliere questa partner di questa serata speciale. Grazie a EVA'S.
If you enjoyed the video, or if you like what we're doing here in this town, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you find yourself in Calabria next summer, maybe consider coming to the Dasa Food Fest. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Ciao.
Non dava per noi, ben da potete ir a casa. Ciao, ciao, ciao.